Okay, 8th graders, today we're going to talk about combining like terms. And a term is just any monomial. So it would be like x or 4z or 1/6 or 135 xyz. Those are all monomials because they're all just one thing. A coefficient is the number part of a variable. So, for example, 4 would be the coefficient of 4z, or negative 135 would be the coefficient of xyz. 1/6 is not a coefficient because it does not have a variable, and x's coefficient is actually 1 because there's a 1 right out in front of 1 times anything is just that same thing, so 1 would be the coefficient for x. Like terms are terms with the same variable and exponent. So, for example, 3z squared and negative 8z squared are like terms, and 9z and 9z and 1/3 z are like terms, but they're not like terms with each other because z squared and z do not have the same exponent. So you have to bear that in mind. Just because they have the same variable doesn't necessarily make them be like terms. Alright, let's take a look at what a constant is. A constant is just a regular old number. Any number. And it's called a constant because the value of that number never changes, like 9 or negative 87. It's always worth negative 87, or it's always worth 9. That constant never ever changes. Alright, identify the parts of an expression. Identify the terms, like terms, coefficients, and constants in the expression. So they're giving us two expressions where we have to say what's in each category. For this first one, (6n minus 7n minus 4 plus n). So each term is separated by a plus or minus sign. So we have 6n is a term, negative 7n is a term, negative 4 is a term, and n is a term. See how they're all separated by signs, but you'll notice that the negative has to stay with the 7 and the negative has to stay with the 4. Alright, so the like terms here all the things that I could add together, 6n, negative 7n, and n are all like terms. Coefficients are the number part of the letter, so that would be 6, negative 7. 4 is not a coefficient, 4 is actually our constant. And then, what did we say was the coefficient in front of the n? That would be a 1. You have to be able to put that down. Alright, let's take a look at our second example. The terms are separated by plus and minuses, so negative 3h is a term. 6k, 2, negative 2k, and negative 9 are all of the terms. The like terms, well, we can see here that 2 and negative 9 could be combined. That would be one set of like terms, but there's another set of like terms. And we have k's and k's. So for the k's and k's, we would do another grouping. So 6k and negative 2k would also be a set of like terms. There would be two sets of like terms. The coefficients, so I would start down here, negative 3, 6, and negative 2. And the constants then are negative 9 and 2, just the regular old numbers. Alright, so you will have to do that on your next test and in class. So make sure you think about those terms, those definitions, and what they mean. Alright, simplest form. So, simplest form of an expression is when you can't combine anything else. So there are no more like terms. You've combined them all. There's nothing we can do. So anytime you see simplify, that means make it as small as possible. But it may not mean that you can actually solve it down to one answer. So don't think that just because it says simplify, you're going to get one simple answer. For example, 3y plus y. So that's 3 y's and 1 y. That makes a total of 4 y's. Negative 9k and positive 9k, they make 0, so they just disappear. And we have 4 left. So that one could be solved down to just one answer, but that's not always the case. Here our like terms are 5x and negative 7x, so that makes negative 2x. Negative 2 plus 6 makes positive 4. And I can't combine x's with 4's, so that is my final answer. That is simplest form. I can't combine anything else. 4z minus 1z would be 3z. Here I can combine 3n minus 8n, which means negative 5n, and the 6 can stay. There's nothing to combine it with, so I just keep it. On this one, negative 2g and positive 2g cancel each other out, and then all I have left is negative 3 plus 11, which is 8. want you to try for homework these 3 problems. And then I want to go over with you maybe a couple more before I ask you to do any more homework assignments. So, on this part, things are getting more complicated. So 4y squared minus y squared would make 3y squared. Negative 6y can't combine with anything else, and plus 3 can't either. So that's simplest form. Let's take a look at the next one. 2u squared plus 3u squared makes 5u squared. Those are done. 5u minus 8u is negative 3u. And then I have plus 1 left over. And finally, negative p squared and negative 2p squared make negative 3p squared. Negative 2p can't be combined with anything else, and 4 plus 2 is 6. So I want you to go ahead and try the last 3 as a homework assignment as well. So you have 6 problems to do for homework. Have a great night.